For over 20 years, Jacqueline Battle has helped corporations launch, scale, expand, and build real legacy. From incorporation to PPMs, franchise agreements, asset stacking, and strategic growth, she works only with select clients ready for precision, structure, and results. Purchase your copy of Easy Corporate Comprehensive Curriculum for New Business Owners, Amazon.com today.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Battle with National Land Realty, here with another segment of Super Real Estate Sunday. Now, earlier I talked to you about some things that we would be discussing that may help you in your real estate growth. And so, as promised, we're going to continue with some of the other things that I think may be relevant. Now, here's what we're doing. We're basing these Super Real Estate Sundays on information that's been requested of us from prior customers, from current customers, from people who just called to make inquiries. And what I do is I put together a show called Super Real Estate Sunday in order to answer some of those questions and concerns. Okay, so prior to now, you would have seen a recording where I briefly told you about some things that we're going to be talking about. Something as simple as decoding this 2026 market. And I use the term decoding because I've had people to ask so many questions regarding understanding property market analysis and how to understand how to evaluate the value of their property and also understanding real estate trends. And some people were looking for the perfect timing. And of course, you see earlier when I was talking about this, I referred to it as a fallacy because there, in my opinion, my humble opinion, when we start looking for the perfect timing in real estate, it can create problems. So we're going to debunk that perfect timing fallacy as we go along today. Now, as I promised, I'm going to pop in and out. So I've already had an opportunity to talk to you earlier. I'm back now to go over a few more things regarding understanding your property market analysis. So I had a customer recently that's been talking about listing their property. Now, you know, I'm with National Land Realty. I'm a land professional, right? So everything that I do right now has to do a lot with development of land for agricultural purposes, for timber purposes, for recreational purposes, for a variation of purposes. I bring together sellers and purchasers and developers that want to either monetize their land, or they want to sell their land, or they want to buy land, they want to develop land. I'm also a licensed title examiner, so I help them to research the title history of their land to make sure that the title is marketable. Yes. And so not only do I specialize in land, but I'm a real estate agent. I've been a real estate agent for several decades, and I can of course help you if you're just looking to purchase a piece of property, a home, your first home, your second home, some type of investment property, some commercial property. I am able and equipped to help you. So let's break open some of this information regarding property market analysis. So the first thing we want to talk about is true property market analysis is more often than the norm. It's just considered a bunch of cold collection of spreadsheets and figures and graphs and percentages, right? Here's the thing. We have to look at it from a multi-dimensional evaluation of value. So we're looking at also the fact that there may be some risk involved. But when you look at the benefits, and sometimes, in most cases, the benefits will outweigh the risk. But you have to understand how to look at the market analysis. And I'm talking about from a layman's perspective. Okay. So for all of you experts that may be watching, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the layman that's looking to purchase real estate and they're trying to understand it all. All right. Just understanding, yeah, who the audience is. I understand. Wanted to make it clear to you. So in this season, when we're looking at all these transitions, we want to look at the data, not the series of obstacles that you'll find in all those graphs that we've been talking about in spreadsheets. But when we're looking at like a roadmap to help you reach your growth margins, then the first thing you want to do as a visionary is never panic. Never panic when you're looking at the market, when you're looking at the graphs. And for those of you who get my newsletter, you get some of those graphs. That's one of the reasons why I think we got all those questions about how to read the market analysis that I sent out. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you from a layman's perspective. But again, if you get my newsletter, then you'll see that graph and those spreadsheets that I sent out regarding the market analysis for 2026 and just helping you to decode all of that. But remember this. Visionaries never panic. And most of you are visionaries, which is why you wanted to be a part of my newsletter and why you're always reaching out with questions and why you allow me to help you in a variation of areas. And I want to say thank you for that privilege. So in this season where uncertainty is really intimidating, and it's going to intimidate the persons or people who are unprepared. When we talk about strategy, we help you to rise in your level of ownership, whether it's land ownership, whether it's land with improvements on it, whether it's a residence, whether it's commercial property. The 2026 property market is shifting. It's moving right underneath our feet. And so when we start talking about the language of analysis, let's take a look at a few things that we can use, right? Okay, so when we're talking about decoding signals that are going to protect your legacy, let's talk about the financial compass that's going to guide every investor and builder and business owner that's operating wisely in this season. So when we look at the national landscape in 2026, we're talking about an environment where 2.5% of the annual decline is taking place in median offer prices. So people are making prices, they're making offers at prices that are about 2.5% less than what they had been offering in prior years. So what they're doing is they're looking for a balance. So I don't know if you remember the wars of bidding that were taking place. I'd say, 2023 all the way through early 2025. People were bidding exorbitant amounts on properties. And of course, it made the market go haywire, which is why that complex set of spreadsheets that I sent out in my newsletter kind of created some fog and some confusion about which way you guys should go. Asking prices or offer prices have reduced by 2.5% annually. Right. So you're not having as much of a bidding war when it comes. So if you're a seller, if you're a person that's looking to put your property on the market, you want to remember that. That's really important. Yeah. So what's happening is there's becoming a more balance in the distribution of market power. So whereas certain areas had more of a market power and we're seeing more of those bidding wars, it's balancing out now that the offer prices are reducing. This is not a warning sign. It's not to say, oh, woe is me, you're going to have a problem as a seller. That's not what I'm saying. It's actually a strategic invitation. So right now, the data that I sent out to you is not an enemy. Yeah, it's something that you can use to interpret correctly. It becomes like a bedrock that you can use for planning your real estate financial future. So what we want to do is reject any kind of shallow comfort zestimations. Don't want to get in trouble with anything, but you guys know what zestimations are. All right. So a lot of times these are automated and they're based on algorithms that really haven't seen the soul of a particular property. Right. But you guys go out and you look at the property. You put your feet on the soil, and you can see the integrity of the property. Right. It changes what you feel you should offer on the property. It changes what the seller feels is an excellent marketable price. So I'm saying to you, when you start to look at the data, you want to make sure that you continue to discern all of the factors that are involved with the property. Go beyond surface level numbers. And that's what a lot of people are doing when they're making offers these days. Yeah, they're going less by the estimations and more by what they're analyzing in the property. And in that, of course, in that newsletter that I sent out, I walk you through how to understand not just the market analysis, but how to compare properties in terms of their value, how to use your local assessment office to help you determine average median prices for a particular property, and then how to add to it based on some of the individual unique characteristics of that property that fits what you're looking for. All of that's in that newsletter. Listen, that's going to help you. It's going to help you come up with a true analysis, because see, it requires professional advocacy. You don't want to just passively observe something and then try to come up with a tool that you can use to help build your real estate portfolio. No, you want to look to some type of professional advocacy that can help you. That's why I cite in that newsletter your local assessment office, right? Now, of course, we know the assessed value is going to be less, but it gives you the formula that's used in order to determine that assessment. So meaning that you can determine the average market price of properties in those particular areas. And you can look them up by subdivisions. Yeah, you can look them up by section, township, and range and get an idea for that whole area. You'll find that information in my newsletter. All right. We're looking at interest rates. When we start looking at national economic indicators, and I told you earlier that we would talk briefly about this, we're looking at it stabilizing somewhere around 6.43%. That's for 30-year fixed mortgages. Now, I know a lot of you have a strong aversion to those, and I don't blame you. But considering that we may have mortgages that are going to be for a much lengthier time, the 30-year fixed mortgage may become pretty attractive. And right now, that rate is stabilizing somewhere around 6.43%. I am not a financing expert, don't have licensing in that area. I'm giving you the average of what we're seeing right now. All right. So when we look at that influence, it begins to weigh on what the amount of your monthly payments will be. And in that newsletter, I also send out a graph in there with certain factors that you can use to multiply it by the loan amount, and it'll give you the general monthly payment for a variation of interest rates. So you see the interest rate there, and then you see the factor next to it. You can multiply your proposed loan amount or sales price against that factor, and it'll give you a general monthly payment. Now you have to consider reducing that amount by the amount of whatever your down payment is going to be, so that it will be closer to the actual loan amount. But that's just something in the newsletter that can help you to understand a little bit more about how to determine the monthly payment amount for different properties. And also, if you have this book, Homeownership Pre-Planning, and much, much more. There's also formulas in here that tell you exactly how to determine the monthly payment. Now, we know you can use any type of AI to help you determine it, but when there are variations, you want to know how to calculate it yourself as well, because a lot of times when there are variations, you can confuse the artificial intelligence by the way that you're inputting the question, which may give you a result that is not actually accurate for the question that you're asking. It's not we're not talking about an imperfection in the AI. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying there's an imperfection in you. It's just sometimes if there's a misunderstanding in how you have asked the question, you may not get the exact answer. Well, there's a formula here that works every single time in this book. Homeownership Pre-Planning, and much, much more. You can pick it up on Amazon.com. That will help you determine your monthly payments. It'll help you determine how to prepay your interest. Yeah. A variation of things that are very helpful in that book. Yep. All right. So when we're looking at formal appraisal grade decision making, we're not appraisers. But in that newsletter, I show you how to use the assessment information to help you come up with a marketable understanding of what the market may bring in a particular area. So you know whether or not you're offering an amount that's way off the mark, too far below what the value should be. Yeah. When we're looking at national data that provides a panoramic view, there's some local trends that sometimes fall through and we miss them. And we can also be misled looking and comparing our local market to a national market. There's sometimes a gap that's there, and you need help bridging that gap, right? So when we start to look at a new reality regarding our local real estate, we can balance things out. For instance, when we're looking at Alabama's metro areas, and I'm speaking of Alabama because I'm in Alabama. I know I got a lot of people that subscribe that are they're in northern states. I got some that are in Virginia, some that are in Maryland. Yeah, some that are in Florida, Mississippi, got some that are in Georgia, Alabama. I understand, even some in Tennessee. Right now, when we talk about Alabama, we're talking about Alabama and the regional areas that surround Alabama and their metro areas. They've got some desirable neighborhoods, and those desirable neighborhoods are outperforming expectations. New construction is rising, but it's still below demand, but it is rising. Also, rental markets remain really tight, especially in northern Alabama. Yeah, because the areas and the cities are booming, specifically Huntsville and other areas. Yeah, so the population is increasing. Yeah, exponentially. And so the rental markets are remaining tight. Now, there is a lot of infrastructure expansion that has to do with job growth and some long-term drivers that are involved that are driving the market. This is where strategic owners can gain an edge by understanding how local realities can amplify national trends. So when you're looking at the national trends, like I said in my newsletter, always remember to take a look at the local trends so that you can balance maybe what you're going to list your property for, or offers that you're going to make on property, or land that you're going to buy, and the use that you're going to the purpose of the land that you're purchasing, or the use that you're going to apply to the land that you're purchasing. Listen, all of this isn't just market commentary. It's really a strategic route to stewardship. And that's why I wanted to show you this book, Homeownership Pre-Planning, and much, much more. You can pick this up on Amazon. Now, in this book is purchase power for business owners, but it's actually purchase power for anyone that wants to purchase a real estate for investment or for personal use. You'll find some excellent information that will help you expound on the newsletters that I send out to you quite frequently. Listen, I hope this has been a help to you. And I really appreciate you joining me in this segment, because in this segment, we were talking about information that could help you regarding the price trend and evolution of property from 2021 to 2026. We talked about the steady price growth and different interest rate impacts on affordability. Yeah, things that will help you when you're making decisions regarding your real estate efforts. And remember, I'm Jacqueline Battle. I'm with National Land Realty. And this week we've been talking about understanding the property market analysis, understanding how to break it down, specifically that market analysis that I sent out, that I got all them return emails and phone calls about. Like, what is this? All right. Yeah. So it was one of the newsletters that I sent out. And I send out newsletters, try to send them out monthly, but if you don't get it monthly, then you're surely going to get one every other month and definitely every quarter. But I try to send it out monthly. If you ever have any questions about those newsletters, reach out. If you ever want to be a part of the newsletters and you're not on the list, reach out to me. Just put a comment in the chat at the bottom. I'll put a link down here also as to how you can get a copy of this book, Homeownership Pre-Planning, and much, much more. You can pick up a copy on Amazon.com. And remember, as always, I'm Jacqueline Battle, National Land Realty.